Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm your man, Aaron Arnold.
And I'm your girl, Elle, and we are the Powerhouse Couple. We are coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana, and we're so excited to drop some jewels for you tonight. We are a relationship mastery company that focus on helping singles and couples in regards to their relationships, learning your self-worth, definitely getting that mindset that allows your relationship to flourish, communication in regards to how men and women communicate, as well as understanding, as well as establishing the under principles in regards to how your life and your family should go forth in establishing vision and mission for the relationship that you have. And so we're excited to come to you tonight, and we're going to talk about how some people they seek approval in the others in regards to validating themselves and who they are. And
Yeah.
so we feel like that is possibly situations for lots of people, or intense situation in regards to where some people seek out others based off of your value system, in regards to they begin to mimic your value system. And so that's how they feel like they should have a relationship with you, that they match or they can mimic the same things that you value in order to seek approval, in order to feel like, yes, that I can perform at a measure in which I'm going to be loved and liked. And it doesn't work at the end of the day, because eventually, if for some reason that those values are not really instilled, and where it comes from is their core beliefs. And so if they don't believe in themselves, they don't have a sound core belief about themselves, and they try to take on what you're doing or who you are, of course, it's ending in disaster, because eventually the person is going to recognize that, yeah, you're looking a lot like me, but I liked you or I loved you for who you were already. And we
Absolutely.
don't always. The thing about value is in us is that value is contextual, and that may mean that you're high valued in maybe an expertise or career or something like that, but it may not be that your value is always in relationship. And so someone can be attracted to you based off of that value and what your passions and things are about. So for in getting lost in, I guess we could give that example as, for instance, a gentleman decided that, yes, it was he really liked this girl, and she was beautiful and she was attractive, but at the end of the day, um, she had these behaviors that were not attractive to him, that wasn't very pleasing to him. And so although that he liked her physical, but in the regards to her having a relationship with her ex, it did not, it did not pan out for him. But he stayed in the relationship thinking that, oh, I'm okay with that part of it. Even though I don't like her behaviors, she's so beautiful, and that substitutes, or that makes that makes more
Yeah.
precedence over how I feel whenever I know that she's talking to the ex, or that she's going to spend time with the ex. And so by that, he felt like, well, she gave me value because of her physical attraction, and that's what was he thought it was. So but it
Yeah.
led to worse things. It led to insecurity for him, and
Yeah.
that's what we're meaning by seeking approval. And then to think that, hey, I'm going to go forth in this, to change your whole entire life, to mimic what somebody else is valuing. If you want to get in here on this, that's fine,
No,
but
go ahead.
um, that is not it. So you definitely have to take the action steps of learning who you are within yourself, valuing who you are, understanding what beliefs you have about yourself, about your relationships, because otherwise you can get lost in thinking that what someone else, how you see somebody else and you don't see yourself, it can really be devastating, especially if that person decides, well, I don't really, gel with you anymore. I'm not really feeling you anymore because you've taken on these characteristics or the value that is not who I was attracted to initially. And so, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's so important that we we establish within ourselves our own identity and our worth and our esteem because it in cases, I mean, it's both with men and women that hey, usually if a person and nobody likes to admit that hey, their confidence or their esteem is not to a certain par or level, but usually a person with lower self-esteem will pick a person with a higher one and also but will let them get away with almost just like anything, just almost run them over and just get away with it because they looks or they value. And then, like I said, what you're saying, like, hey, you getting together, and then instead of taking and still being yourself, they start, you know what? I like how they do it. I like how they talk and how they value and how they do within themselves. And so then they start, you know what I mean? They start losing their worth and their value and their boundaries and their system and what they believe. And then what comes about is man, you know what attracted you to that person? Like I'm not attracted because you know what you trying to be like, you know, you taking on my qualities and who I am instead of the things that I liked about who you was individually wise. And so if we don't keep that in establish and like I said, every day establishing our worth and building weekly, yearly, hey, our value, our system, and who we are, so that we can grow in not only in a relationship but also in life. Because, hey, a lot of people never want to admit it, but a lot of people want to be like other people instead of like, you know what, I love me.
Yeah.
I love
my talents, my own passions and what I'm, gifted in. Yes, truly.
My talents, my gifted, and help me go to the next level. And so when you do that, the world and everybody else says, man, you know what? I like how he does. I like how she does. They confident in themselves. I don't care if you even got certain quirks about yourself. Love your quirkiness.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And your oddness or whatever. And let that be you because hey, that brings a light to the scene like everybody else needs. So
absolutely. But in doing that and realizing that, and as you made a great point about boundaries, when there is a person that's in a relationship that of course you're attracted to someone that's high value and you're trying to either mimic or come to their level, that you realize that there are boundaries that this person has established within themselves and that you have to do the same thing, because otherwise, then it's gonna always have, you're gonna always have a hiccup, but otherwise you're gonna be walked over. You're gonna always be, oh, I'll go with that. So, just to get approval from that person, or I'll go with this. And you don't ever have boundaries, which makes it even more detrimental to yourself.
Yeah, slippery slope.
Yeah. So it is so key that we have boundaries. It is so key that we have our own, establishing your own identity and your own values when you are going into a relationship, that you're not seeking approval from somebody, that you don't feel like I gotta have a man or I have to have a woman in order for me to be complete or whole. That is not the truth, and a lot of people have found that out because they've ended up hurt or more heartbroken than necessary, thinking like, oh, I got to have this warm body laying next to me. And that's not true, because you have not spent the time to establish who your identity is, who, and so then there's these emotional, this emotional baggage that is drawn around with you, and all the ideals and all of the thoughts that go on in your mind, thinking that I am not loved, I'm not significant, I'm not worthy. And you have just keep that in mind, that you are who you are unique, you are worthy, and you are who God has made you to be, and that you establish that within yourself before you come into someone else's presence. And I think that really sums it up in regards to seeking approval. Approve of yourself at the end of the day.
Yes. I know it really all that sums up, man. And like I said, we live in a world that our value within ourselves is not, you know what I mean, truly given and validated either at home and school and life. You know what I mean? They call it by numbers and this, but hey, when you start loving you and you start showing up and like, man, you put that worth in you, man, you can become a strong man and that strong woman.
Yes.
And like I said, I'll be the first one to admit that hey, there was times that I didn't have confidence and I wanted to be like somebody else until I realized and embraced myself and who I was.
Yes.
Because hey, like I said, nobody gonna be transparent about that, but I will.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Hey, there was moments where I didn't like who I was, but then like I said, I started to believe in me. I started to see God within myself and understand my kingship and my validation and my worth. And I started sowing into my life and sowing it into me and then growing within myself. And then I was able to bring something to the relationship, also to the marriage. There was times where I didn't have the point of thinking about who I was as a father and as a husband. But now, as I started to really seek out God, and I mean, like I said, people see the God on the outside, but man, you got to see the king within and the queen within yourself,
Yes.
so that you know that hey, I am worthy, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am here in this generation, this time to make a difference like never before, and care less about what anybody else think about who you are, because hey, you are the apple of God's eye. You are the truth. You got to dispel any lies about that you're not worthy, that you're not fit, that you're not up to. Man, you are here in this generation to set things in place, to put things underneath your feet, to bring those thoughts right down underneath who you are, because you are a king. My God, you are a queen. And I'm gonna tell you in your life, I can tell you I've been there, I've been to the low, and I've been through the valleys, and I done seen the dark place. And now I see the light, and it's time for you to see the light within yourself so that you can make a difference in your family, in your community, in this world, in this nation. Because if you don't see that you a person that's a game changer and that can make a difference, you are never going to step up, not only in your life, but in others. But do that, man. So I'm telling you, validate who you are by validate and say, hey, I love God. Love the God within you. Love the king within you. Love the queen within you. And my God, we love you with a powerhouse couple. And I'm telling you, it's time to raise your power and raise your strength. All right. We love you. You take care.
Good night.